Hello, I'm Eric Faria, and this is I Am. Thank you for watching. I'm here today with Kathy McShane, who is the CEO and founder of Ladies Launch Club. So, we were just talking before the break about a public speaking that you did at the New York Public Library.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that experience?
Oh, the experience was absolutely phenomenal. And I do a lot of public speaking, but there was something just very special to be invited to speak there. The ambiance, the people were totally different from Connecticut, where I live and work. And the questions they asked were totally different, which I love. And just a really, really, really mixed group of people. And just they have a little bit of an attitude, and I don't mean that negatively
No, I
at
get
all.
it.
They just are like, they don't care. They ask anything, and that's good. I think we all need to have those challenges.
That's good. So, what are the differences that you see regionally, even though it's not that far away from Connecticut to New York City? But what do you see from the places that you travel to and you talk to?
Well, the thing that strikes me most is the difference between Westchester and Fairfield County, because that to me is just really next door. And what I find about Connecticut women is I believe they have this image of themselves of being sweet and good looking, and they don't want to challenge anything. Then we come to Westchester. And the women are just fabulous because they have what I call bravado, and they will challenge everything that we talk about. And they have a totally different mindset. I happen to love it. I've done work in California. That's a whole different.
I can only imagine.
So there are definitely regional differences. And I often wonder, as an immigrant, why does somebody who from Brooklyn speak differently than I do from Fairfield County? How does that happen?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Because it's relatively close.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And even if it's not, why, why, we're all the same country.
It's true, it's
Right?
true. I mean, as an immigrant myself, I can attest to that from every place that I go to, even I was in New Jersey 2 weeks ago, and completely different accent.
I know.
And my own accent, and I hear it all the time. And people are like, I don't hear it as often, but I do.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I'm very sensitive to it. I love it, but I'm sensitive to it.
Okay. So earlier we were talking about the women who are entrepreneurs, who are in their 50s, and you call them Shepreneurs.
I do.
Right?
Yes.
So what is the characteristic of a Shepreneur? What would you define as a Shepreneur?
Generally, they're women who are in big transition. And that could be a divorce. It could be she's an empty nester, or her spouse.
So the kids have left the home,
is
have gone to
empty,
college. And,
right.
Yeah.
So, and she's left her big job to take care of these kids. Her spouse may have passed on, or they have been divorced. So they come into the marketplace with a little bit of a different point of view, and that is fear.
Oh, really?
They're really fearful, and they're fearful because of that change. People don't like change.
The life transitions.
It's a big transition for them, and they worry about their skill set. They worry about, if I'm over 50, am I aged out? They worry about, where am I going to get people to work for me or with me? They worry about everything. And however, when they get over that hump, they're amazing because they are mature. They have been there. They have done so much. And I think many of them who have been mothers are just, they want to coddle everybody in the world, which we kind of ask them not to do quite so much. Right. But to me, it's very brave for a woman who's 50, 55 to just say, you know what, I'm going to start a business. And I have a number of them who have extremely successful businesses. I mean, we're talking about $7 million businesses.
Wow.
So not all of them, obviously, but they come in, and those who really want to do it, and they'll figure out how to do it.
Can you, without naming any names, can you say some of the businesses that these women have started?
We have a number of people who manufacture. I mean, they don't physically, but they'll do handbags, and that one is a $7 million company.
Wow.
And she actually distributes through HSN and QVC.
So
And
big companies. Wow.
they're in
Yeah.
huge volume.
Huge.
However, I do also one-on-one coaching, and I suggested to her that she start to look at Amazon. Who owns the world right now? Amazon.
Yeah.
Right?
Online, yeah.
So we always have to be thinking about what's happening next and try to at least keep up with it.
That's fantastic.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So what would you say to a woman who is in her 50s, who has an idea, who perhaps has had an idea for decades?
Often, yeah.
Yeah, often, right? And didn't act on it. What would you say to that woman would be the first step?
The first step is to really understand who your target market is. And how that person walks, how they talk, what's their DNA, what are their values? Because people actually buy emotions. They really don't buy products or services. So, and I put them through this, who is the target market? What is your positioning? How are you different than any other of the thousands of handbags out there? How are you going to price? And we have a checklist. And if they don't go through that, it's going to be difficult for them. And what happens is, to many, when you put them through the exercise, all of a sudden they love it. They're like, oh my God, I was so afraid of that exercise. And it takes thinking. It takes really, really thought. And I frankly pretty much challenge them because that's what I'm there for.
Okay. So in the book, as I was reading it, you also mentioned about the female entrepreneurs who have that fear, right? And how to overcome that. So could you talk a little bit more about, because I feel that fear is such a human emotion. It's
Absolutely.
so common and everybody has it. Doesn't matter how old, how young you are.
Right.
So could you talk a little bit more about how to overcome that fear?
I'm going to go back to something that I had said earlier, and that is to be with a group of people who are going to challenge you. However, I try to really communicate to these women that what's the worst thing that can happen? Number one. And number two, we often think of things that don't work the way we want them to as failures. They're really not. We've learned something. Everybody learns
There's
something.
always a lesson.
That's right. And I also think often, and I'm not a Pollyanna at all. I'm sure you can tell that. But I feel that when things happen, there's a reason for it. And often something much more wonderful comes along. So I really work with them in terms of getting that mindset about what is really the worst thing that can happen. And they don't want to look dopey. They just don't want to look dopey, but you're not looking dopey. So we work really to get over that fear. And I will tell you, in a group of women, they're going to get over that fear pretty quickly because they're going to challenge each other.
I believe you,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And so I guess the message is you can't get to courage without walking through fear.
That's right. That's right.
Well, thank you very much, Kathy,
you.
for being here today.
It's my pleasure.
It's my pleasure to have you here. Once again, the book is The Survivor's Guide for Female Entrepreneurs, and it's my pleasure to have Kathy here today. And I'm going to put her information, her social media, so you can follow her, you can get in touch with her. And thank you once again.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I'm Eric Faria, and thank you for watching I will be back next week, and you can follow me on social media at I am Eric Faria. Thank you, and I'll see you later.